The burger slipped from her hands and fell to the floor, but the group of young men just laughed louder. "You were in the military. America must be really desperate." The woman froze in her wheelchair, her wrist still adorned with a bracelet in the colors of the American flag. 30 minutes later, the entire cafe was surrounded by dozens of soldiers in combat gear who had called them, and why were they here? If you're outraged, type shame in the comments to stand with those who sacrificed for our country. Every morning at precisely 8:15, Sergeant Anna Lewis wheeled herself into Mike's Café for breakfast. At 39, her upper body strength was impressive, a reminder of her military past and her current reality. The wheelchair had been part of her life for 6 years now, ever since that fateful day in Kandahar when she'd spotted the IED seconds before the convoy rolled over it. "Morning, Anna," called Mike from behind the counter. "Usual." Anna nodded with a smile. "Please, and maybe extra napkins today." She wore simple clothes, jeans, a plain blue t-shirt, but always kept 2 items with her A bracelet made from paracord in red, white, and blue, and a carefully folded letter from the president, thanking her for saving 3 young soldiers. The letter rarely left her pocket, but knowing it was there gave her strength on harder days. Today was becoming one of those days. As she navigated toward her usual corner table, her wheelchair caught on an uneven floor tile. The burger she'd just received tumbled from her lap onto the freshly mopped floor. "Damn," she whispered, reaching down awkwardly from a nearby table. Laughter erupted. 3 young men, college-aged, wearing expensive sneakers and designer clothes, were pointing at her. "Nice moves," said the tallest one, his voice deliberately loud. "And they let you handle weapons?" Anna ignored them, focusing on retrieving her food. "Hey, I'm talking to you," the young man continued. "You actually claim to be a soldier. America must be really scraping the bottom of the barrel." His friends laughed, encouraging him. "Ryan, she can't hear you," another one said loudly. "Too many explosions, probably." The cafe had gone quiet. A young waitress stood frozen coffee pot in hand, her eyes darting between Anna and her manager, who was suddenly very busy with the register. "I hear just fine," Anna finally said, her voice steady but quiet. "Better than you might think." The ringleader Ryan stood up and walked over, looking down at her. "So you're what? Some sort of veteran with a flag bracelet and everything? Cute accessory?" Anna's hands trembled slightly as she tried once more to pick up the fallen food. Her fingers, damaged from the same explosion that took her legs, betrayed her. The burger slipped again. The 3 men erupted in laughter. "Look at this! Can't even handle a burger!" Ryan mimicked her movements, pretending to drop something while making exaggerated shaking motions. "This is our military hero, folks." Anna stared straight ahead, her jaw clenched tight as the laughter echoed through the suddenly silent cafe. A young waitress, her name tag read Jenny, approached with a replacement burger. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, placing it carefully on Anna's table. "This one's on the house." Before Anna could thank her, Ryan's voice cut through again. "Special treatment for the so-called veteran, what a surprise." Jenny's cheeks flushed red, but she hurried away without responding. Anna unwrapped the fresh burger slowly, her appetite gone. She reached into her pocket, fingers brushing against the folded presidential letter, before finding her wallet. Inside was a photo of her unit, 5 smiling faces in desert camo. 3 of them had black ribbons taped to the corners of the photograph. Around the cafe, other customers shifted uncomfortably in their seats. An elderly man raised his newspaper higher, effectively blocking his view of the situation. A woman with 2 small children gathered her things and left quickly, eyes averted. A businessman tapped furiously on his phone, headphones firmly in place. No one spoke up. No one made eye contact except for one small boy, maybe 7 or 8 years old, who stared openly at Anna from the next table. He wore a Captain America t-shirt and clutched a half-eaten muffin. "Mommy," he stage whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. "That lady has a soldier bracelet like Uncle Dave's." His mother hushed him quickly. pulling him closer. Anna placed her hands on her wheels, preparing to leave early, something she'd never done in her 6 years of coming to this cafe. That's when her phone rang. The screen displayed Elliot with a photo of a handsome young man in military dress uniform, Mom. His voice was clear through the speaker. "I just got a video from Jenny's brother." "What's happening?" Anna's eyes darted to the young waitress who was pretending to wipe down a nearby table. "So that's how he knew." "It's nothing, sweetheart," Anna replied softly. "Just some kids being kids. I'm used to it, Mom." His voice hardened. "Those aren't kids. They're grown men. Elliot, please, I don't need." "Where are you?" "Sitting right now." "My usual corner." A pause. "Stay there. Elliot, don't you dare." But he had already hung up. Anna set her phone down and noticed Ryan watching her, a smirk spreading across his face. "Calling for backup," he mocked. "Maybe they'll send someone who can actually walk." His friends laughed again, though one seemed less enthusiastic than before. Anna closed her eyes, briefly took a deep breath, and opened the wrapped burger. She began eating methodically, dignity intact, despite the continued snickers from the nearby table. The small boy was still watching her, his eyes wide with something that looked remarkably like admiration. What would you do if your mother was disrespected like this? If you believe respecting those who sacrificed is the minimum we owe them, type "never forget" in the comments. Exactly 30 minutes after Anna's phone call, the ground seemed to vibrate. The sound of engines, powerful military, engines filled the morning air. Through the cafe windows, everyone could see the convoy arrive. 2 Humvees and a light armored vehicle, all in desert tan with military markings. They parked with precision, blocking both the entrance to the parking lot and the view from the street. Ryan's smile faltered. "What the hell?" The cafe fell silent as soldiers in combat uniforms emerged from the vehicles. 12 of them, each moving with disciplined precision, formed a perimeter around the building. They didn't rush, didn't shout, just moved with a coordination that spoke of years of training. The bell above the door jingled as a soldier entered, tall, with captain's bars on his shoulders, and a face that held the weathered look of someone who had seen combat. His eyes scanned the room methodically until they found Anna in her corner. Without hesitation, he walked directly to her table, stopped precisely 2 feet away, and snapped to attention. "A perfect military salute, Sergeant Lewis," he said, voice carrying throughout the now silent cafe. "The men and women of Echo Company 2nd Battalion present and reporting." Anna's eyes widened in recognition. "Elliot," she whispered, "you shouldn't have." Ryan and his friends had gone pale, their bravado evaporating in seconds. Elliot turned to face the cafe at large, but his gaze settled on the 3 young men. "This establishment," he announced, voice steady but commanding, "has someone who deserves your respect. Sergeant Anna Lewis, combat medic who lost the use of her legs while saving 3 soldiers from an IED in Kandahar in 2013. That woman he pointed to, Anna, is my mother." One of Ryan's friends shrank in his seat. Another muttered something that sounded like, "Oh, shit." Ryan himself started to stand, perhaps to leave, but found his path blocked by another soldier who had entered silently. "Going somewhere?" the soldier asked quietly. "Is there something you'd like to say to a real soldier first?" Anna remained seated, her face betraying no emotion, but a single tear tracked down her cheek, catching the morning light from the window. Elliot knelt beside his mother's wheelchair and placed his unit's insignia patch on the table next to her half-eaten replacement burger. The gesture, intimate yet public, spoke volumes. "The men who sent me home to you," he said softly, though in the silence everyone could hear, "asked me to give you this. Sergeant Mitchell's son just finished basic. He says he joined because of the stories his father told about you." More soldiers filed in, lining the walls of the cafe. One by one, they came to attention, creating an impromptu guard of honor. The first soldier to enter after Elliot stepped forward. "We apologize for being late, ma'am," he said formally. Traffic was heavier than anticipated. Anna looked around at the faces. Some she recognized from photos Elliot had shared, others complete strangers, but all wore the same expression: respect. Mike, the cafe owner, emerged from behind the counter for the first time since the incident began. "Sergeant Lewis," he said, voice unsteady, "your money's no good here. Not today. Not ever again." Elliot helped his mother navigate toward the door, the path now lined with soldiers standing at attention. As they passed, each soldier saluted not out of obligation, but genuine respect. Throughout the cafe, people rose to their feet. The elderly man, who had hidden behind his newspaper, removed his cap and placed it over his heart. A woman whispered to her young daughter, "Remember her face. That's what courage looks like." Ryan and his friends weren't arrested or forcibly removed. They didn't need to be. The power of the moment had accomplished what threats never could. Each hung his head as Anna passed, shame evident in their postures. The small boy in the Captain America shirt broke away from his mother and ran to Anna's side. He thrust a crudely folded paper into her hands, a drawing of a woman in a wheelchair wearing a cape. "You're my hero," he said simply before running back to his mother. Anna smiled her first genuine smile that morning and carefully tucked the drawing alongside the presidential letter in her pocket. As they emerged into the sunlight surrounded by Elliot's unit, Anna looked up at her son. "You didn't have to do this." "Yes, Mom," he replied, "we did. Some warriors never carry weapons but bear lifelong wounds so others can live freely. Sometimes a smile and a word are enough to show gratitude or ingratitude. The greatest battles aren't always fought on distant battlefields, but in everyday moments when we choose whether to honor sacrifice or mock it. If you believe sacrifice deserves to be honored with dignity, subscribe to Iron Heart Stories, where silent heroes speak again. Iron Heart Stories, where silent heroes speak.